Hello guys. Recently, the April 2026 Visa Bulletin have been released um, by USCIS, and I wanted to compare the April 2026 Visa Bulletin date movements with the March 2026 Visa Bulletin. At a high level, there's a lot of good news, definitely on multiple EB categories. From EB1 through EB3 other workers, for sure there were good forward movements that we see. Let's get into this one by one and see and compare where the date movements happened uh, and how far it moved in terms of the dates. On the left side, you see March 2026 Visa Bulletin and final action date table for employment based category. Same on the right side, but that is for April 2026 Visa Bulletin. On the EB1 rest of the world, it will stay current as anticipated and it will continue to stay current for the current fiscal year. EB1 China, it moved from 1st of March 2023 to 1st of April 2023, which is a 1 month forward movement. Same for EB1 India, it moved 1 month forward from 1st of March 2023 to 1st of April 2023. Mexico and Philippines EB1 stayed current as anticipated. But definitely good news for backlog countries. We see 1 month forward movement there. EB2 employment based category. That's definitely a great news that it was 15th of October 2024 on March 2026 Visa Bulletin, but then it turned into current, which is great news because that there is enough visa availability to get to current for EB2 category in terms of rest of the world. So yeah, that's definitely a good sign for future forward movements on the other categories. And I will come to that why I say that it will be good for other categories when the rest of the world becomes current in this way. And EB2 China, it did not move in this category for the current Visa Bulletin comparing to the previous one, but I think there may be a forward movement starting from next month or following month when we have solid final action date table being used, if that is referred to be used, and that's when we will start seeing the forward movements in this case. But currently, at least it did not go back or retrogress in this case. It stayed on the same date, and we will anticipate to look for a forward movement in the future Visa bulletins. EB2 India, it moved from 15th of September 2013 to 15th of July 2014, which is 10 months forward movement. This I did not anticipate for at least for the current Visa Bulletin. I know there will be, I was predicting that it will move forward so far, but it will take up to at least end of this fiscal year to move that far. But fantastic news for EB2 India that it moved 10 months in a single Visa Bulletin from March to April. And seems like we will continue to see the forward movements even though it jumped 10 months. We might continue to see this in the coming Visa Bulletins, either in June Visa Bulletin as a big jump or incremental movement starting next Visa Bulletin. Okay, that's what I anticipate. But this is a fantastic news because historically, at least for the past few years, EB2 was behind EB3 for India, but now it has been jumped forward quite a bit. So definitely great news and good sign. I'm seeing that the spillovers from previous fiscal year is being heavily utilized between rest of the world and backlog countries between China and India as well, applied for EB1 and EB2 heavily in this case. EB2 Mexico and Philippines stayed current as anticipated because previously, not anticipated, previously we were seeing synchronized forward movement for Mexico and Philippines with rest of the world, like whatever the rest of the world dates where that was the cap and continue to follow. So in this case also, we are seeing that as rest of the world became current, Mexico and Philippines also synchronized with that because there is not a lot of backlog for Mexico and Philippines in terms of EB1 and EB2. So it is strictly following the trend of what rest of the world is going through in this case. EB3 rest of the world, it was 1st of October 2023 in the March 2026 Visa Bulletin. And look at this, EB3 skilled, I mean, rest of the world is now in April 2026 Visa Bulletin. We see 1st of June 2024, so which is also close to 9 months or 10 months or maybe less. So it's like we have November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, June. So yeah, 8 months. Sorry. So 8 months forward movement for EB3 skilled, which is another great news here because it was strictly moving either 2 weeks or a month, not much. But now, this is great. Definitely a great news for the EB3 skilled category. Okay. And EB3 China, it moved a couple of months or 1.5 months in this case. It moved from 1st of May 2021 to 15th of June 2021, which is almost 1.5 month forward movement, which is good news. EB3 India did not move a date. It has been stagnant for past two visa bulletins. So the date was not moving forward for EB3 India. Even for March 2026 bulletin, it was like before as February, same. So we will anticipate, I think for now, what I think is they're just looking at, because so far they were, the USAS was referring to the data filing charts to get the I-485 filed, and they wanted to look at how many numbers demand come in for each of these categories to predict how to move forward those dates. I think that is why I think EB3 may have a high demand in this case, which they just want to wait and see how much applicants are coming in with this particular final action date. And along with that, also the dates that are in the data filing table, which we will get to shortly. So based on the quantity or the demand coming from those dates from the data filing table, I think once that reaches the limit that is available or the visas that are available for the current fiscal year, then slowly the dates will start move forward. And there is also a caution note that I wanted to provide later. There, like the dates movement, what we are seeing now is to get at least the applicants file for I-485 to enter into the queue. And if the queue becomes larger than the available visa limit, then the dates might slightly retrogress on some of the categories. We need to keep an eye on that because the date movements on the data filing chart are mostly to understand the demand, and accordingly the final action date table dates will be moved forward. So and in this case for EB3 India, I'm thinking that maybe in the coming months or coming visa bulletins in the future, we will start seeing some forward movements. But at this time, we are just looking at counting on number of applicants for the given category and see if how far the date can be moved forward later. So I think I'm still positive that EB3 India will see forward movements in the coming visa bulletins, but we do not know how much yet because we do not know the demand coming in at this time. That is the case. But it will definitely, in my opinion, before the end of current fiscal year, it will enter into at least in first quarter of 2014 before the end of the current fiscal year is what I am predicting at this time. We'll wait and see if that is the case. It may be even further forward, but I wanted to be optimistic in this case to keep it in the as a Q1 2014 at this time by the end of fiscal year at least. Okay. So EB3 Mexico, and that follows rest of the world dates because that's how we saw. But EB3 Philippines was in this case um, it was 1st of August 2023, and it did not move because we know EB3 Skilled Philippines had a lot of backlog that needs to be covered, and it is understandable that there is a date established for that to limit to that number. So again, I'm not sure how much of a spillover numbers applied for Philippines category in this case for EB3 Skilled, but at this time, I think it is going to um, at this time it is going to stay like this. Maybe we will start seeing some forward movements in the future Visa Bulletin, but not much in this case. It's what I anticipate. But it depends on the number of applicants coming in with the data filing table, references. Okay, so going into EB3 other workers. EB3 other workers, rest of the world, it was 1st of November 2021 for March 2026 Visa Bulletin, and it stayed the same. It did not move at all. Again, we know that there is a limit, and the spillover numbers does not go into EB3 other workers at this time, based on the rules that are set on how the spillover number will be applied. So the spillover numbers usually applied from EB1 through EB3, and because EB3 other workers will get capped at 10,000 max per year, per fiscal year, it may not get more than that 10,000 numbers, right? So I think the number forward movements are based on purely on the 10,000 number overall for the EB3 other workers category worldwide. So that is the split at this time, unfortunately. So you may not see a much bigger forward movement for EB3 other workers due to the demand it has, which is the backlog that it has, versus the number that are available per fiscal year is lower compared to the demand. So you will see it may not get to the current because it has a lot of backlog. It will gain a slow forward movement in the coming Visa Bulletins, but you may not see much bigger jump for EB3 other workers rest of the world. So China EB3 other workers, it moved from 8th of December 2018 to 1st of February 2019. So it is 3 weeks, or sorry, almost 2 months, sorry. For forward movement, EB3 other workers India stayed the same. Did not change as we spoke, and Mexico and Philippines EB3 other workers matched and synchronized with rest of the world movements. So that is the trend we saw before as well for EB3 other workers. Okay, let's get into the data filing table and analyze what is there and what possibilities are there for the upcoming Visa Bulletins in the current fiscal year. So in this case, we look at the data filing movements between the March and April, right? In March Visa Bulletin, the anticipation was EB1 rest of the world would stay current. It's the same thing, same for April 2026 as well. EB1 China was predicted to be 1st of December 2023. Same, it did not change for the data filing chart. EB1 India, 1st of December 2023 in March 2026 Visa Bulletin. Same for April, did not change. So EB1 widespread across the board, it did not change, which means that that the visa limits are predicted to reach that date by the end of the current fiscal year. and we're not anticipating beyond that at this time, unless other things change in the coming months. But this is the current state that we are anticipating as of now, that the fiscal year dates would, on the final action date table, will try to meet these dates for China and India, and remaining will stay current as well for EB1. EB2, rest of the world, it was current in March. Same, it did not change anything. Same state, it will be current, anticipated to be current by the end of the fiscal year, and which we already saw in the final action date table, right? It's a forward movement quite a bit on that as well, and it became current. Um, and for EB to China, it was 1st of January 2022. It's the same 1st of January 2022. Again, we are seeing that the visa numbers are available up to that date, and I'm not anticipating much of a change. So by the end of the fiscal year, the final action date table would reach this date for EB to China is the prediction here. EV to India, it was moved from 1st of November 2014 in the data filing table to 15th of January 2015. Okay, so which means that it moved a couple of months, or 2.5 months in this case, forward movement anticipating to reach. So seems like the final action date table might reach 15th of January 2015 by end of the current fiscal year, which is nothing but by end of September 2026 Visa Bulletin. We might see EB2 to go up to 15th of January 2015, which is a great forward movement for this category under this backlog country for India. So EB to Mexico and Philippines going to stay current as anticipated. That will continue to stay current and synchronize with the rest of the world. EB3 for rest of the world. Good news, at least in the data filing table, is that it is anticipated to be current by end of the fiscal year, which means that we are not anticipating any backlog by end of this fiscal year, which is again a great news for EB3 skilled rest of the world category, because previously in March 2026 Visa Bulletin there was a date established there, and in April 2026 Visa Bulletin it shows as current, which means that there is a potential possibility that it might remove all the backlogs for EB3 skilled. I think this is purely based on the support from the spillover numbers from previous fiscal year to the employment-based category from the family-based category, right? That definitely supported here for many of the EB categories across the board. EB3 China, no change as well. It stayed the same, so that means we're anticipating that the numbers are meeting the demand based on the available numbers in the current fiscal year. So I don't think it will further forward movement from here, but we never know. So let's wait and watch if there will be any future forward movements in the data filing table for EB3 China. EB3 India, so in March 2026 Visa Bulletin, it was 15th of August 2014, okay? And in April 2026 Visa Bulletin under data filing table, we are seeing 15th of January 2015, which is also similar to EB2. So what it tells me is that there is a potential date movement for EB3 because of they are still so USA is still looking for applicants to file the 485 to be in the queue, but I'm not sure if in this case for EB3 India, if it will move up to 15th of January 2015 for the current fiscal year. That means before September 2026. Because for the past 3 visa bulletins, we did not see any forward movements in the final action date table for EB3 India. So there may be a jump, a big jump, but not in a full stretch up to 15th of January 2015. It might reach to 15th of August, in a very best case scenario. As I said previously, when we reviewed the final action date table, I'm anticipating, okay, yes, it might reach end of Q1 2014, but barely may enter into Q2, but not like I'm not anticipating it might reach to 15th of August 2014. If that is the case, because we never know how the dates will be moved in the coming visa bulletins, because only the demand can tell based on the inflow of applicants. Okay, based on the demand, either it might go to 15th of August 2014 and stop by end of September 2026, which is the current fiscal year, or it might even reach to 15th of January 2015, or it might even not even move further beyond Q1 or Q2 of 2014. I don't know. So we will keep an eye on how this trend is going to happen for EB3 India, and similarly for EB3 other workers India as well. It's going to be the same story. But if it happens to be 15th of January 2015 by September 2026, that's all. That's the ideal thing we wanted, right? So let's hope for the best, but then let's be prepared for worst case scenarios here as well. EB3 in this case, skilled Mexico continue to synchronize with the rest of the world. So anticipation is it might reach the current state by the end of fiscal year, current fiscal year. Okay, that's the prediction here from the data filing table. So let's hope for that as well. Um, and Philippines EB3 skilled, the anticipation is it might move up to 1st of January 2024, which is the same in March 2026 visa bulletin. As I said, because of the huge backlog in EB3 skilled Philippines, the dates are established, and that the date that it might reach up to end of current fiscal year, which is by September 2026. Okay, EB3 other workers for rest of the world, it was 22nd June 2022 in the data filing table, and it moved to 1st of August 2022. So we are saying that at least we are seeing what the dates movement will be predicted, at least for the future visa bulletins, that we are anticipating that by September 2026 data final action date table may move up to 1st of August 2022. That's the story here, right? And we know that currently in the final action date table, the date we have for other workers is November 2021. So 1st of November 2021. So what we say here is it might move up to 7 months or close to 8 months of forward movement is the story. So let's hope for that. Hope the inflow of applicants quantity does not impact this forward movement range, at least. In this case, we don't know, we don't have the data of inflow of applicants at this time, okay, to refer to. And there are no updates regarding that as well, so it's hard to say. EB3 other workers China, the date was 1st of October 2019. In the March 2026 visa bulletin, same here, it did not move. So seems like most of the China category established dates and meeting the demand and versus availability in the current visa bulletin. So for this particular date establishment. So we are not anticipating at this time to go beyond this, is the story here. So we talked about EB3 other workers. India, it's going to follow the EB3 skilled. EB3 Mexico, it was 22nd June 2022, same as what rest of the world was, and same here. It is anticipated to move up to 1st of August 2022, and same for Philippines as well. So it's going to be synchronized between rest of the world, Mexico and Philippines in terms of EB3 other workers. So one thing was very clear from the notes under D section, okay, that is important to refer to, okay. So what it says here is that the immigrant visa issuance rates basically are coming from the spillovers, okay, and it's been utilized from the previous fiscal year into the current fiscal year, okay. and based on which the date of filing and final action dates have been advanced. And the same story for is posted in March 2026 Visa Bulletin, and same thing for no change on that in the April 2026 Visa Bulletin. So there is an availability from family sponsored that is utilized as a spillover to employment based categories. That is the story here, okay? But what is important to note here as well, right? If there is an additional immigrant visa demand, okay, they are still materializing that demand. Once that is clear, there may be a necessity for retrogression in the later stage of the fiscal year. So this is the caution note I was referring to before. Because the dates are moved according to the current state of the demand, and the demand will get adjusted every day we see the applications, right, coming in. So based on that incremental review of those demand, the future dates will be determined and adjusted. So that's what they're saying. So the dates may be as is, what is shown here in the April 2026 Visa Bulletin, or there may be a forward movement further from it, or there may be a retrogression as well, if that is necessary. So keep an eye on that and prepare for the worst, right? So that's the story here. But overall, based on the April 2026 Visa Bulletin, most of the categories have a great news to look at. And many of you have the dates became current. Right, so best wishes for you guys, and hope you get that processed sooner and answer the RFEs sooner to get that resolved and finally get the green card in hand. So good luck to all of you.